Here's something the pen industry would rather you not think about too hard. A lot of what you pay for on an expensive fountain pen isn't the writing, it's the name, the box, the boutique, which means if you know where to look, you can find pens that write like they cost 3, 4, 5 times what they actually do. That's the whole video today. 10 fountain pens, every single one of them under $100. That punch so far above their price, it's almost embarrassing for the expensive stuff. Some of these you'll know. A few of them I'd bet you've never heard of, and those are the ones you're going to want to write down. Let's get into it. Number 10. The Platinum Preppy, around $7. We have to start here, because nothing else on this list proves the point as hard as a $7 pen does. So here's what's wild about the Preppy. You know the most annoying thing about fountain pens? You leave one sitting for a couple weeks, come back, and the ink's dried up so it won't write. Expensive pens fix this with special sealing caps. Well, Platinum, one of the big Japanese brands, put that exact same sealing cap on this $7 pen. So you can leave a Preppy in a drawer for months, pick it up, and it writes on the first try. That's a feature people pay a lot of money for, and it's sitting in the cheapest pen Platinum makes, and the nib genuinely surprises people. It's smooth. It comes in a good range of sizes, from a fine all the way down to an extra fine that's perfect for small handwriting, and it just works, day in and day out. Here's the other thing, because it's so cheap, it's the pen people experiment with. There's a whole trick in the hobby where you can turn a Preppy into an eyedropper pen, meaning you fill the entire barrel with ink for a massive capacity, using nothing but a bit of silicone grease and an O-ring. You would never risk that on an expensive pen. On a $7 one, why not? Now, it's not much to look at. Clear plastic, printed cap, easy to walk right past on a shelf. But that's kind of the joke. It's the pen serious collectors keep a whole pile of, fill with their weirdest ink colors, and end up using more than anything else. If you ever wanted proof that what a pen costs and how well it writes can be two completely different things, you can hold that proof in your hand for $7. Number 9. The Pilot Metropolitan, around $20. If the Preppy is the pen people start with, the Metropolitan is the pen that actually converts them, the one that makes someone go, oh, so this is why people love fountain pens. Here's why. Pick one up, and the first thing that gets you is the weight. For around $20, you're expecting hollow plastic, and instead, it's a solid brass body with a real, satisfying heft to it, the kind of build most pens at this price don't bother with. Then you write with it, and that's the second thing. It just glides. No warming it up, no fighting it, no learning curve. The ink flows the moment the nib touches the paper, and that's not luck, it's Pilot. Pilot makes nibs for their entire range in-house, from $20 pens all the way up to their expensive gold nib stuff. And that same obsessive quality control runs through all of it. The Metropolitan nib is famous for showing up perfect out of the box, basically every single time, which is not something you can say about a lot of pens at any price. One thing worth knowing, Pilot nibs run a size finer than Western ones. So if you like a medium line, you might want to grab the medium here rather than the fine. It comes with both a squeeze converter and a cartridge, so you can use bottled ink right away if you want. That mix, a metal pen that actually feels expensive, and a nib that writes perfectly right out of the box, is the kind of thing people expect to pay $50 or $60 for. Pilot does it for $20. It's the pen longtime collectors still keep around, and the one they hand to a curious friend, because it wins people over just about every time. Number 8. The Faber-Castell Hexo, around $45. Now here's a name that deserves way more attention than it gets. Faber-Castell has been around since 1761. Let that sink in. That's older than Mont Blanc, older than Pelican, older than Lamy, older than basically everybody. This is one of the oldest names in writing, period, and they've spent 2.5 centuries getting really good at one thing, making the things you write with feel right in your hand. The Hexo is their modern take on a clean, professional, everyday pen, and for around $45, it feels like a serious tool. It's got a sturdy, anodized aluminum body with a 6-sided hexagonal shape, hence the name, so it sits nicely in the hand and never rolls off your desk, which sounds like a small thing until you've chased a rolling pen off a table one too many times. There's a nice detail where the hexagonal cap lines up flush with the barrel when you close it, the kind of fit and finish you notice. But the real reason to buy it is the nib. Faber-Castell's steel nibs are quietly some of the best in the business. Smooth and reliable, with just a touch of feedback so you feel connected to the page. And on a pen at this price, that's a genuine steal. It takes standard international cartridges and converters too, so you're never hunting for a weird proprietary refill. This is the pen you keep in your jacket for signing things, taking notes, and looking like you know what you're doing. It looks and writes like it should cost twice as much. Number 7, the Pilot Cavalier, around $58. This one's for anybody who wants something slim, elegant, and a little bit dressy. Without spending real money, the Pilot Cavalier is a slender metal pen, around $58, and it just looks expensive. It's got this refined, understated profile with a metallic finish that would blend right in next to pens costing $150 or more. And because it's a Pilot, that nib is the same story as the Metropolitan. That same reliable, glassy smooth, works out of the box Pilot writing. No drama. What's special here is the size. It's noticeably slimmer and lighter than most pens, which makes it a genuine favorite for people with smaller hands, or anyone who finds chunky pens tiring over a long writing session. Here's a nice bonus. The Cavalier actually takes Pilot's Con 40 converter and their cartridges, the same as pens further up Pilot's line, so it slots right into the ecosystem. If you want your pen to look sharp in a shirt pocket and write beautifully while it's at it, the Cavalier punches way, way above $58. Number 6, the TWSBI Eco, around $38. Okay. This is the one that made a lot of people in the hobby fall in love with the idea of value pens in the first place. Here's why the TWSBI Eco is such a big deal. It's a piston filler. That means, instead of a little disposable cartridge, it's got a built-in mechanism. You dip the nib in a bottle, twist the end, and it draws a big reservoir of ink right up into the barrel. That kind of filling system is the sort of thing you normally don't see on pens under $150, and TWSBI put it in a pen that costs around $38, and they didn't just tack it on. They actually designed the Eco with input from the fountain pen community, so the details are the ones enthusiasts actually wanted. The barrel is clear, so you can watch your ink supply, and it holds a big pour, way more than a cartridge, so you're refilling far less often. The nibs are smooth, German-made steel, and they unscrew, so if you want to jump from a fine to a broad line, you can swap it yourself in about 10 seconds instead of buying a whole new pen. The one honest caveat: that faceted cap can be a little stiff to twist off when it's new, but it loosens up. There's a reason this pen shows up on basically every best value list in the hobby. It gives you a genuinely premium experience for the price of a couple of movie tickets. Number 5, the Lamy Studio, around $75. If you want a pen that looks like quiet money, this is it. The Lamy Studio, around $75, is what happens when Lamy takes their famously reliable nibs and wraps them in a genuinely elegant, grown-up body. It's got a glossy coated metal barrel with real, substantial heft, and this signature propeller-shaped clip that's become a bit of a design icon, the kind of detail people actually notice and ask about. On the desk, in a meeting, in your hand, this pen reads as expensive. And here's the clever part. The Studio uses the exact same swappable steel nibs as Lamy's cheaper Safari, which are famous for being reliable, easy writers. So you get that dependable, no surprises Lamy writing experience, but in a body that looks and feels several tiers above it. And because the nib just pulls off and pushes on, you can pick up extra nib sizes for a few dollars and change your line whenever you feel like it. One thing to know going in: the grip section is smooth, polished metal. So if you tend to hold your pen in a real death grip, it can feel a touch slippery, but most people get on with it fine. For $75, you're getting something that genuinely looks and feels like a $200 executive pen. This is the quiet luxury pick of the whole list. Real quick, if you're finding this useful, do me a favor and hit subscribe. This is exactly what I do here. Honest breakdowns of pens actually worth your money. No sponsors, no brand deals, nobody paying me to say nice things. All right, top 4. And this is where the hidden gems really start. Number 4, the Nahvalur Schuylkill, around $79. Now we're getting into pens that look like they belong in a boutique display case, at a price that absolutely does not match. Nahvalur, which used to go by the name Narwhal, makes some of the most gorgeous resins you'll find anywhere near this price. The Schuylkill, around $79, comes in these deep, swirling, jewel-tone colors inspired by tropical fish, the kind of material you'd expect to pay $200 or $300 for. And it's not just a pretty face, it's got an in-house piston filling system. That fill from a bottle mechanism that's premium engineering you normally don't see under $150. So you get big ink capacity and that satisfying twist and fill experience. There's even a clever hidden detail. The piston knob is disguised as the end of the barrel, so the pen looks clean and seamless until you actually go to fill it. The steel nib is smooth and dependable, and if you ever want to upgrade, it fits a standard size that's easy to swap. If you set this pen next to a boutique brand costing 3 times as much, most people genuinely could not tell you which one was expensive. That's the whole point of this list right there. Number 3, the Diplomat Aero, around $95. This is one of those pens that people who really know their stuff quietly rave about, while everyone else has never heard the name. The Diplomat Aero, around $95, is a German-made pen with a completely distinctive look. A ribbed, rounded aluminum body inspired by old Zeppelin airships, so it feels solid and substantial, and unlike anything else on your desk. Diplomat has been around since 1922, and this ribbed design is the pen that put them on the map with collectors. But the real reason the hobby loves it is the nib. Here's the detail that makes it special. The Aero uses a top-quality German JoWo nib, but Diplomat has their own people at the JoWo factory who personally test and tune every nib before it ships. So while a lot of brands just bolt on a stock nib and call it done, an Aero shows up already dialed in, smooth and wet and ready. That's why you'll hear it described as one of the best steel nibs you can buy at any price, not just under $100. One of the best, period. When a plain steel nib is good enough that people compare it to gold, you know the pen's doing something right. It's a straightforward cartridge converter filler, nothing fussy. This is a pen that feels and writes like it should be a $200 pen sitting right under $100. Number 2, the Opus 88 Koloro, around $95. This one's a genuine conversation piece, and it does something almost no modern pen does. The Opus 88 Koloro, around $95, is what's called a Japanese eyedropper pen. Instead of a cartridge or even a piston, you literally fill the entire barrel with ink using an eyedropper, which means it holds an enormous amount. We're talking weeks of writing on a single fill, and to stop it leaking everywhere, it's got a clever little shut-off valve inside. You twist the top, and it seals the ink off from the nib when you're carrying it around, so it won't flood or burp in your bag. That's a genuinely old-school design from the early 1900s, brought back and done really well, and Opus 88 is one of the few companies keeping it alive. On top of that, it's a beautiful pen, translucent acrylic with hard rubber ebonite accents that give it a real vintage luxury look, and it's a chunky, comfortable pen to hold for long sessions. It uses a smooth German steel nib, so the writing is easy and reliable. It's comfortable, it's unique, and it does something you simply can't get from the usual cartridge pen. There's nothing else quite like it near this price. Number 1. The TWSBI Vac 700R, around $80. And for number 1, I wanted to end on the pen that makes the should cost way more point better than anything else on this list. Remember the Schuylkill a few pens back, where I said a piston filler is premium engineering you don't usually see under $150? Well, the TWSBI Vac 700R, around $80, goes a step further. It's a vacuum filler. You pull up a plunger, push it down in one motion, and it sucks a huge gulp of ink into the barrel in a single shot. Here's why that's the perfect closer. That exact filling system, a vacuum filler with a big ink capacity, is the headline feature on the Pilot Custom 823, a pen that costs around $400. The Vac 700R gives you the same core mechanism for about 1/5 of the price, and it's not some stripped-down version either. It's got a smooth, reliable German steel nib. A clear demonstrator body, so you can watch that big ink supply. And it even has a shut-off valve like the Opus, so you can seal it for travel. TWSBI also went back and redesigned the filling system on this newer version to run more smoothly than the original, which had a few early complaints. So this is the sorted out, refined one. The only honest downside is that vacuum fillers take a little more effort to clean than a cartridge pen, so most people just pick an ink they love and stick with it. But that's a tiny price for what you get. A genuinely impressive, genuinely fun pen that feels and functions like something several times its cost. If any single pen proves you don't need to spend a fortune to get a real, premium writing experience, it's this one. That's why it's number one. So there's your 10. Every one of them under $100. Every one of them writing and feeling like it should cost a whole lot more. And that's really the lesson of this whole list. Once you know what actually matters in a pen, the nib, the way it fills, how it feels in your hand, you stop paying for the name on the cap and start paying for the pen itself. Do that, and $100 goes a shockingly long way. Tell me down in the comments which of these you'd grab first. And if there's a killer under $100 pen I left off, drop it. I want to hear about it.